Hi everyone and welcome to this week's arrangement video with your bunch called Purple Rain, which is as flamboyant as Prince himself with these fabulous Balthazar blooms. I'm going to show you how to arrange it into this classic Freddy's vase, and then what to do with last week's arrangement and how to trim it down into our optic vase and how to create a few little bud vases as well. First of all, to introduce you for the first time this year to this wonderful whimsical stem called bupleurum, which I absolutely love, and the Chinese used to grind it up and use it in herbal remedies. As always, make sure to look after your flowers using some lovely flower food. Trim a diagonal inch off the end of all your stems and use clean room temperature water, about a third full. To arrange, we're going to start with our wonderful blooms arranged evenly around the edge of the vase. They'll arrive in nets, so make sure not to take them off quite yet. And then we're going to face our alstroemeria opposite each other, resting on the edge of the vase. And we're going to do the same with our spiky eryngium, creating a square with our alstroemeria. What we now have is all of our shorter flowers around the edge of the vase, with our blooms being our focal flower, and we've created a lovely structural grid in the middle for our taller flowers to stand up in. With your fluffy solidago, we're going to stand that upright in the middle using the stem grid for support, and it will fill out the center. And your lisianthus will sit either side of your solidago. And to finish with your beautiful bupleurum, we're going to tuck the stems into the very middle, allowing its branches to fall out in any direction. And there we have it, a wonderful, eccentric, flamboyant arrangement, which I hope Prince would be proud of. And now I'm going to show you how to trim down last week's bunch into this optic vase, which you can find in our shop, and these 3 bud vases, which you can find in our shop as well. Now I've got my flowers laid out on the table in their individual varieties, I'm going to trim about a third off the end of each stem. When trimming down your lisianthus, there may be a few lower lateral stems that fall off, which you want to make sure to keep. And with your gladioli, make sure to pluck off any lower flowers like this one, which will allow the top flowers to open. So to arrange, you can either follow your arranging guide instructions from last week, or follow me now. So we're going to start with our blooms arranged evenly around the edge of the vase. Then we're going to face our sedum opposite each other, resting on the edge. And we're going to do the same with our alstroemeria, creating a square with our sedum. We now want to fill out the middle with our bushy solidago, using the other stems for support. And I'm just going to trim off a few of these lower branches, which I'm going to save for later. Now my lovely lisianthus will do the same as my solidago, and again I'm just going to whip off a few more of these little lower stems so that the stem slots easier into the bunch. We finish with the gladioli, and I'm going to again take a few more of these lower flowers off, and these will now slot very nicely into the middle. And in fact, some of these flower heads look very pretty dotted around the table. And there we have it, our beautiful trimmed down optic vase, looking very, very pretty indeed. And now I'm going to show you what to do with 3 of our beautiful bud vases with some of the trimmings. Very simply, I'm just going to trim down the lateral stems of the lisianthus so the heads sit about 2 inches above the bud vase, and remove some of the lower leaves. You can also defoliate some of the lateral stems of the solidago that came off when you trimmed down your main stems. Now, very simply, I'm just going to dot them throughout the bud vases. You can even try popping in one of the gladioli heads, and if you feel there's not quite enough in your bud vases, then you can go back to the arrangement and trim off a bit more. So here we have this week's arrangement in our classic Freddy's vase, last week's arrangement trimmed down into our optic vase, and then 3 mini arrangements in our bud vases, and you can now fill your house with flowers, so give it a go. Thanks so much for watching, I hope you have a great day, and see you next time.